All right, please find your Algebra I Chapter 1 Solving Linear Equations notebook. It looks like this. Okay, I'll give you a second to find it. All right, so let's get started. So let's open it up. And this is for Chapter 1, Section 1. So solving simple equations. Simple equations are equations that are considered to be solved in like one step. Right? Now, we talked a little bit about this. We talked about how equations, okay, have an answer. They have an equal sign. All right? So an equation is two expressions that are set equal to each other. Now, what does that mean, Julie? What does that mean? Well, that means we have something like x plus 3 equals 5. That's an equation. Okay? I have an expression on the left and an expression on the right. Even though they're a little bit different looking, they're still expressions. Okay? Now, a linear equation is an equation. All right, Ellie, it's an equation that has how do I want to phrase this? It's an equation that has an exponent of 1. Now, that's not totally mathematically correct, okay? But for you guys, it'll make sense. So let me give you an example of a linear equation. That's x plus 3 equals 5. Linear. Notice up here, all right, up here, right there is no exponent, all right? It's not 0, it's considered to be 1, okay? This, x divided by 2 equals 3. This is linear, all right? Look up here, there is no exponent. 2x equals 8. Again, linear. All right, notice the exponents. There isn't one. Now, it's easy to identify a nonlinear because that's going to have an exponent. Notice here, there is a exponent, and it's not 1. This is not linear. This is not linear. Why? Because you have this funky looking house. Okay, Mike? You have this funky house that's around the whole thing. That's a square root function. The other one was a quadratic. Now, a solution is a number that balances the equation. Meaning, there's a number that I could plug in for x that makes the left equal to the right. So, for example, x plus 3 equals 5. Well, here, what would the solution be? Well, x would be equal to 2. Because when I plug in 2 for x, I get 2 plus 3 equals 5. That's a solution. Okay? Now we're going to play a game. It's going to be kind of awkward because you guys are there and I'm here. So the game is I'm going to say something and you're going to tell me the opposite of it. Okay? You're going to tell me the opposite. All right, let's start out with Tyler. Tyler, if I say day, you say, oh, very good, Tyler. Way to say night. Day and night are opposites. Now, Chucky, If I say on, you say off. Way to go, Chuckley. Way to go. On and off are opposites. Nate? Yeah, what do you want, Harvey? Nate, if I say left, you say right. Why are you asking me that? Way to go, Nate. Left and right are opposites. Julie, if I say up, you say, Julie, take off your sunglasses. Take them off. We can do this. Yes, down. See, you put them down. Awesome. You knew what you were doing. So up and down are opposites. Now, Ellie, if I say add, you say, Ellie, I see what you're doing there. I see you have your hands underneath your chin. Okay? Ellie, if I say add, you say subtract. Way to go, Ellie. Add and subtract are opposites. Okay, here we go. So add, subtract, multiply. What do we got, John? Multiply, divide. Why is so uncertain? Of course, multiply and divide are opposites. So inverse operations are, we have addition and subtraction. All right, so add and subtract. They're inverses. Multiply and divide. These are inverse operations, okay? Now, equivalent equations are, well, let's look at this. This is the one I like today. X plus 3 equals 5. Now, equivalent would be, well, let's think about this. How can I write something that's equivalent to that? Well, why are these two equivalent? Well, x plus 3 equals 5 and x equals 2. They're equivalent equations because both of the x values are the same. Well, how are they the same? Well, let's think about this. If I have x plus 3 equals 5, well, what if I were to subtract 3 from both sides? That would give me x equals 2. Okay? So that's why they are equivalent equations. They're equations that mean the same thing. Now, the addition property of equality says you can add the same thing to both sides. Meaning this. Well, what if I change that to x minus 3 equals 5? Well, this addition property of equality says I could add 3 to both sides of my equation. Well, minus 3 and plus 3 cancel out, and I would get 5 plus 3 is 8. Now notice those two things are the same. 8 minus 3 is 5. Well, what about subtraction property of equality? Well, that says you can subtract the same thing from both sides. Well, let's look at our famous one, x plus 3 equals 5. Well, look, if I subtract 3, I have plus 3 minus 3, they cancel, and I have x equals 5 minus 3, which is 2. And 2 plus 3 equals 5, so we know we did it right. Now, the last two for this page would be multiplication property of equality, which means you can multiply both sides by the same thing. Meaning, well, what if I have x divided by 2 equals 3? Well, if I multiply both sides, I have times 2 divided by 2. They cancel. And 3 times 2 is 6. And that makes sense because 6 divided by 2 is 3. And if you couldn't guess it by now, you can divide both sides by the same thing. Well, that means, well, what if I had 2x equals, say, 8? Well, I could divide both sides by 2. Times 2, divide by 2, they cancel, and we're left with x equals 4. And of course that makes sense because 2 times 4 is 8. So there we go. Now with those rules, we can go ahead and we can solve these equations. So let's look at these up here. Now I'm going to use those properties to solve these equations. So how do I undo a minus 3? Well, I add 3. These cancel because it's a minus 3 plus 3, and I'm left with x equals negative 5 plus 3. Well, let's type that in our calculator. Well, that's going to be negative 2. And I can check my answer by plugging it back in. If you borrow $2 from me and you borrow $3 from me, you borrowed $5 from me. So we know we did it right. Now, just because it's a decimal and it's on the other side doesn't mean I can't figure this out. I can actually, well, it says plus 2.8, so I subtract 2.8. Well, plus and minus, they cancel. I'm left with, on the right-hand side, y, and 0.9 minus 2.8. Well, let's type that in our calculator. We got, turns out to be negative 1.9. And I can check that by plugging it in, but I think you guys believe me there. Now, I have fractions in number 3, so it doesn't change anything. I can still do minus 2/5 on both sides. Those cancel. I'm left with m equals 3/5 minus 2/5 is 1/5. And of course, 1/5 plus 2/5 equals 3/5. Okay? Now, for number 4, well, this one's a little tricky because that negative with the n, I'm actually going to move down with the 5 because it's another way I could rewrite that. So I multiply both sides by negative 5. So these negative 5's cancel. I'm left with n equals negative 3 times negative 5 is negative 15. All right, let's pick a different color now. Let's pick purple. All right. Now let's do this. It says times 1.3. So z times 1.3 is, okay, what we're doing. So we're going to subtract, or not subtract, we're going to divide. So we cross them out. We are left with z equals, well, 5.2 divided by 1.3 is 4. Let's change our color again. Let's go over here to well, let's go with a theme color, orange. Well, this looks a little weird because it's a fraction. I'm trying to say multiplication. So I could view it as a division problem, but calculators don't really like dividing by fractions. So how do I undo this fraction? Well, there's a big word, starts with R, ends in reciprocal. Very good. Very good, Grace. It's reciprocal. So we're going to multiply by the reciprocal, which is just flip your fraction. So 3/5 becomes 5/3. Now look, there's a 5 on top, 5 on bottom, 3 on top, 3 on bottom. They all cancel, and I'm left with t equals, well, 6 times 5 is 30 divided by 2 is 15, or divided by 3 would be 10. So where I could do it this way, I could do 6 divided by 3 is 2 times 5 is 10. So there we go. Now you guys try. So go ahead, pause the video, and do that. Or I'll give you 2 minutes for you guys to do it on your own. You guys actually thought I was going to do it. Unreal. Just going to sit here, drink my coffee while you guys do these problems. Talk to myself as well. All right. Enough time. Ran out of coffee. Mike, what's your favorite color? Awesome. Pink. Great color. Let's see if we can get a good shade of pink here. There it is. Good old salmon color there. All right. So, Mike, n plus 3 equals -7. How do I get rid of that plus 3? -3. Nice job. So we're going to subtract 3. You got n equals -10. Very good, Mike. Katie, what's your favorite color? Ooh, yellow. All right. Well, let's see what we got here, writing it. So, Katie, how do I get rid of -1/3? +1/3? Ooh, impressive, impressive. Yeah, let's add 1/3. Those cancel. G equals 2/3 plus 1/3 is 3/3. Or what's 3/3, Katie? 1. Perfect. All right, let's look at number 9. Number 9. All right, Shayna, what's your favorite color? Teal. All right, let's pick that teal. Shayna, how do I get rid of plus 3.9? Oops, sorry. -3.9. I know, I'm the worst. I'm sorry. Didn't mean to. So let's go ahead and subtract 3.9 from both sides. So we're left with P on the right. And how do I do that? What do you get? Okay, type that into your calculator. So 5 plus 9. All right, why am I doing plus? Because they're both negative. All right, so I get 14 there, carry my 1. 6 and 3 is 9. Plus the 1 is 10. So I got -10.4. Is that what you got? Of course it's what you got. Ava! You think I forgot. How are the Kimmels doing? Good? Great. Great. Glad to hear they're doing well. Let's pick. Ooh, so let's go forest green. Now, Ava, how do I get rid of divide by 3? Times by 3. Very good. So they cancel, and we're left with y equals -18. Olivia, your favorite color is purple. All right, we'll do purple again. We'll do like a nice little lilac right there. All right, Olivia, how do I get rid of times 0.05? Awesome, divide by 0.05. And what do we get? W equals, you got to type that in your calculator, go ahead and do it. 28. Thank you. Let's pick a nice charcoal gray. All right, last one, Julie. Ooh. How do I get rid of times -3/8? All right, let's not say divide by -3/8. Let's say multiply by the reciprocal, which is -8/3. Now, that cancels with that cancels with that, m. Now, this is difficult to do without a calculator, but it's easy if you listen to me. What's 21 divided by 3? 7 times -8. Perfect, -56. Awesome. Nicely done. All right. So, got a couple more problems to do. All right, here. So we're going to leave off here, and you guys we're just gonna have to do a little bit of homework. So check Schoology for it. All right? Let me know if you have questions.